Definitely 13 is when it started to get bad, and I remember losing quite a bit of weight. I was 5 when I started dancing. My mom struggled so hard to get me into a dance class and a dance school because I hated sports. And 9 and 10 is when my teachers started to recognize how good I was getting, and I was a lot stronger than a lot of the other girls at my level. 11, 12, 13 is when I got like very, very serious, and I started to consider it as a career path. Teachers that were so like rough on you. Why do you have a belly? You know, like you have too much of a butt, you know, you have too much boobs. I had 2 bouts of an eating disorder. So my first one was pretty much purely anorexia, like athletic anorexia, like 13 to 14. And then my second bout of it was 17 to 19. So I had a good gap, and then I went right back into it. And they say it's a disease that can come back during your life. It never goes away. I started to lose enough weight that I was like, I look really good. Maybe I should lose more. And I feel like my worst eating disorder was when I was 17 to 19. That was definitely a larger scale because I knew more about how to move around, like food and everything, and avoid, you know, being confronted. Well, I lost out on all these calories that I was supposed to be having at that time that were gonna be metabolized correctly for my body to grow. But at the same time, I learned so much from it, and I can help other people with the same problem learn from it as well, that I was like, you know what, I'm glad this happened, because now I can teach other people how to avoid it from happening, and I can learn from that experience and bring it throughout my life. And now I know like when I'm getting too meticulous and too focused. My life is different from other people's because of it. So like sometimes in a negative way, but in a positive way too. I am in a 12-week bikini prep right now. As of today, I am 11 weeks out. It is a form of bodybuilding based a lot around weight training, but that was more of like, I had my growing time, and now this is like my cutting time. So I am counting my macronutrients, so my protein, my carbs, and my fat, and gradually decreasing them through this time so I can have the best physique possible when I step on stage. So it's basically you diet and you exercise to look as lean and as cut as possible, without losing any of your muscle that you have built. This is challenging, and I like challenge, so I'm gonna do it, you know? And I first started noticing that kind of thing 2 years ago when I started my Instagram, and I was like, I'll never look like that. And now I'm like, yeah, 11 weeks out, here we go. Primarily, I lift. That's like most of my workouts. I practice my Zumba tracks for like 20, 25 minutes in the morning, and then I go and do my lift. I have to weigh my food to the gram or to the ounce to make sure I'm getting the exact amount of protein, carbs, and fats that I need in that day. It could be a lot more than usual. It could be like, if it's less, I have to be, you know, precise.
All right, swimming pools or take apart? Drink or take apart?
Take apart.
Okay.
Posing is a huge part of it. I have to, once it gets to summer, practice every day. I'm trying to fit it in for a few minutes a day now because it needs to be on point by the time I get on stage. So as long as you stick to your macros and your prep and everything, whatever weight shows up in the scale doesn't matter. As long as you know you're doing everything right, the weight doesn't matter. I feel like I am more focused here than in ballet. Also probably having to do with me mature. I'm very focused because this is an all-encompassing, you know, sport. Everything my stressors, my food intake, my training has to be, you know, very specific. And what I do throughout the day, it's very structured, but I like that structure. I think it's very easy and concrete for me to follow in my brain. And even though I'm recovered from an eating disorder, I think that structure and that control does help me. Right now it comes to my mind that old self is definitely fearful, afraid of everything. Fearful would be the biggest, you know, fearful of, you know, gaining weight, fearful of what people think. I honestly would simply say that I'm happy now. I'm very happy with where I am. And that's definitely a plus from being fearful. There's no spectacular word to describe it besides I'm happy.